I know it can feel like the world's gone a bit crazy at the moment, and so I wanted to take some time to explore maybe one lens that we could see our current situation through and try and make sense of what's going on around us. So let's get into it. During World War II, the islanders of Melanesia witnessed foreign soldiers unloading vast quantities of food, machinery, and technology they'd never seen before onto their islands. When the soldiers departed, the islanders built bamboo replicas of aeroplanes and runways, even mimicking military drills using the abandoned equipment, all in the hopes of summoning back the cargo they believed was rightfully theirs but had been stolen by the pesky soldiers. What's fascinating is that they continued these rituals even after being taken to Australia and seeing how the goods had been manufactured. Why? Because their ritual wasn't really about the cargo. It was about maintaining a sense of order in a world that felt like it had been turned upside down. These days, things feel so unstable on multiple levels. It seems like every time we open our phone, there's a fire hydrant of outrage, emergencies, political divides, and tragedies just waiting to blast us in the face. It can feel like the systems we relied on are failing, and the old way of thinking no longer makes sense. At the same time, many people coming forward to solve these crises seem more rigid, exclusive, and religious than in recent times. A strong messiah-like figure appearing like a phoenix from the ashes. Because in moments like these, people don't often turn to solidarity. They turn to religion. Religion in crisis is like that one friend you call when your life is falling apart. You don't speak to them for years when things are going well, but the minute your relationship breaks down or you lose your job, suddenly you're at their kitchen table at 3 a.m., completely hammered, asking for the meaning of life. Because when the floor falls out from underneath us, we reach for something solid, even if it's just an empty promise and someone to tell us we're not completely screwed. But religion has always been there, hovering in the background like some vigilante superhero. Just not religion as we think about it. Not just a set of doctrines or arguments for a supreme being's existence. Religion at its core is something far more primal. It's society's way of responding to crisis, of holding itself together when the ground beneath it begins to shake. Because religion is not just about ideas, it is about survival. Think about it. The most basic religious commandments, don't kill, don't steal, honor the gods, are not arbitrary rules. They are the bare minimum required for a society to function. This is not to say that religion is about gods. In fact, that misses the point entirely. What we call God is an abstraction of the coherence of society itself. The universality of a deity tends to match the complexity of the society it governs. Tribal societies have tribal gods. Complex trade networks develop more universal deities like capital, liberal values, borders, and nationalism. Religion becomes a social technology, evolving to meet social needs. The French sociologist Émile Durkheim saw religion not primarily as a set of supernatural beliefs, but as social glue, a collective consciousness that binds individuals together into a moral community. For Durkheim, religious rituals weren't about appeasing the gods. They were about reaffirming social bonds. When we worship together, we're really worshiping society itself and strengthening the collective values that make communal life possible. Durkheim called these social facts, phenomena that exist outside of individual consciousness but constrain and shape our behavior. Think about any time you've been in a line. If you just walk to the front of the line, you can probably feel the social tension build up. But who made these rules? They aren't against the law, and yet we all believe in them. Any group that didn't enforce these norms would collapse. Religion then is the abstraction of these social necessities. It is the story a society tells itself to justify why things must be done a certain way. He writes, "The totality of beliefs and sentiments common to the average members of a society forms a determinate system of collective representations which may be termed the collective consciousness." Meaning that the common beliefs and feelings people in a society share create a collective way of thinking that helps hold the community together. However, when material conditions decline, when the old order starts to fray, people don't abandon belief, they reshape it. They look for saviors, for purifying forces, for someone or something to sweep away corruption and restore balance. We see this pattern repeat throughout history. In first century Palestine, Christianity emerged as a millenarian movement, which is the belief that the world is coming to an end and a new kingdom is coming. The Christians believed that the corrupt powers of Rome would be overthrown and that a savior would return. 2,000 years later, we see similar impulses in movements like QAnon, where a hidden savior is expected to cleanse the world of elites. The details change, but the structure remains the same: crisis and then salvation. This explains why, in times of prosperity, religion fades into the background. When the good times are raging and the future is so bright it's burning our eyeballs, we don't need strict rules to keep us in line. We cooperate because cooperation benefits us. But when scarcity sets in, when trust erodes, religion reasserts itself, not as a gentle moral guide, but as a buffer against chaos. Durkheim would recognize this pattern in what he called anime, a state of normlessness where social bonds weaken and individuals feel disconnected from shared values. Religion steps in to combat anime, to restore sacred boundaries that kept society intact. It provides what Durkheim termed mechanical solidarity, a sense of sameness and shared purpose that binds people together. When someone says, "honor the gods," what they're really saying is conserve the coherence of society. Honor the way society has been up until now, because evolutionary speaking, it's got us this far. This is why all religious fervor is, paradoxically, a conservative force. It resists change while appearing to be revolutionary. It places the burden of action on a savior, requiring followers to merely support rather than to act. Religion functions, as it always has, as a justification to do as little as possible. Now, this is a two-part series. In part 2, we'll get into a bit more about why religion is insufficient for solving genuine crisis and potentially dangerous when wielded by political messiahs. But as always, what did you all think? Is religion just a balm that we place over to justify doing nothing in hopes that someone will come and magically save us? Or is it something that we need to pull us all together? Did I get anything wrong or right? Let me know in the comments. And if you've liked this, you will probably like the Past Present Tense newsletter. It's a weekly newsletter coming out on a Monday with a post like this one, a piece of unsolicited advice, which is usually something I found online, a book or a film, one small quote to simmer on for the week, and the Past Present Tense playlist of 10 songs I've been listening to lately. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.